policy analyst. I am a mental health advocate. And now I'm aspiring to be a farmer. I want to do mushrooms and I want to do poultry for eggs.
Multifaceted. Love to see it.
Yes. So that's what's been keeping me busy.
Okay.
Yeah. Mental health advocacy, let's see, which I think is probably what brought me here today.
Facts.
I started this in 2015.
Nice.
Just voluntary.
Okay.
Not anything to do with I was contracted by someone or anything like that. No, it's just sharing my own story with things that I've faced in my life. It all started with a Facebook post. When Facebook was still a
thing.
You could post something and you'll get some traction.
True.
And
it goes viral.
Yeah, so I did that.
What was the post about, by the way?
Dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression at some point in my life.
Okay.
Those two are tied together due to childhood trauma. So had a story from when I was, let's say, 13. And I think at that time, I was, early 30s, maybe? No, late 20s.
Late 20s, 2015. So right now you could be, let's do the math.
I've passed the youth. I've passed the youth bracket. Fuck, 2 weeks
Senior
ago.
Citizen, junior.
2 weeks ago. Citizen,
junior.
Yes. Now we are, this was for, unajua 40s imekaribia. That's where we are, but we accept.
Okay.
Yeah, so I said that post, it caught traffic. I caught traffic with people who were my friends, followed me on Facebook at the time. Some took the conversation to Instagram. And then on IG, all I've just been doing is whenever I see posts that resonate, not just with me, but I think that resonate with people, I post.
Okay.
I've done a few interviews like this in the past as part of the advocacy, which has helped. And then in terms of maybe talking to guys face to face, that I've also done. Maybe some, I think there was once that a church group invited me to talk to some of their youth.
Okay. So
I did that. So mine has just basically been voluntary, not anything that I've done for money.
Okay.
I think maybe once one office that called.
Okay.
And I think because they saw a bit of the posts I've done and maybe other people who also know me recommended me. So I went and then they gave a kachai. Okay.
Mandazi na chai. Got it.
That's about it.
Okay, but if I should ask, so far with all the work that you've done, what would you say has been the most rewarding aspect of all of it?
The most rewarding for me is either strangers or guys I know who have reached out and I have linked them, let's say, with professionals. Because I'm not a professional myself.
Yeah.
So it's either with a psychologist or psychiatrist, or sometimes one may need both, because they do
hand in hand.
They work hand in hand, but they address two different things.
True.
Yeah. So I think a big thing is you meet someone and they come and tell you, the person you linked me with
has
really
this
helped
and this
me.
for me.
They've changed my life. I'm deep in therapy right now. Or they had stereotypes against medication. But they were linked to the psychiatrist who knew how to, explain why they needed medication in the first place, what the medications were going to do. If there are any side effects, there are ways to mitigate those things, stuff like that. But, just seeing that their overall wellness has changed. And then they're just maintaining that, So I think for me, the biggest reward is that. Just seeing guys who were in a bad place get better and are now advocating for themselves and for those around them.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, yes, we have just started. As you heard, Edgar Odhiambo is in studio and we are talking about everything mental health. Before we gear into next month is Men's Mental Health Month, right?
June?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're about to get right into it, but right after this song, this is Echo by Furthermore and Hassan Melanated. That's a very interesting name. But you heard it right here. You want to keep it right here, Baze Radio. We have a more amazing conversation about to come through right after this. Hassan Melanated playing right here on Baze Radio. Good morning to you. And as we're still deep in our conversation of the day with Edgar Odhiambo, we are talking and discussing everything mental health. And before we get deep, I think it's only right that first of all, we talk about some myths around mental health. And one specifically that I think we should talk about is mental health when it comes to children.
Okay.
And there's this thing that people say that children don't experience mental health issues. What are your thoughts on that, and what would you like to highlight specifically on children and mental health?
That myth is not true.
Okay.
Children do experience mental health conditions. I'd say for kids, you'd find like in the family setup, that's probably the primary source of mental health wellness that would be compromised. Parents not being on the same page, due to either they're having issues with their marriage and whatnot. It could be being bullied in school.
True.
It could be a teacher maybe picking on
a specific student,
on and on and on and on and on, and the things that they experience. So you'd find cyberbullying has now become a thing.
True.
Because young kids are on social media. So them with those few examples, those are reasons why kids would ordinarily experience mental health conditions. And sometimes it could be things, even do exams. Some kids, you have exams coming up, you're panicking, and then someone's just like, no, don't panic. But I'm like, no, this kid is panicking. There's a reason why they're panicking. Or they're reading something and they can't grasp the concept.
True.
They might have grasped it before, but now because there's an exam coming up, so it's like I have to match up to this classmates of mine. I have to impress my teachers. I have to impress my parents.
True.
Because they paid school fees. There's all this pressure.
So
I'm noticing that at a very young age, kids are experiencing a lot of pressure, which turns into things like anxiety, or when parents are their parents are either fighting because of marital issues. Kids pick up on these things.
True.
Just see one parent maybe a bit sad or a bit upset and whatnot. They pick up on these things and they
carry them to heart.
That it's their fault that their parents are fighting.
Whew. That was a lot. And another myth is wait. So therapy and self-help are a waste of time. Why bother when you can just take a pill?
What kind of pill?
I don't know, but they just say that if okay, let's forget even the pill part. Let's just talk about therapy and self-help are a waste of time. I think, especially with men, I've heard that a lot of time. Like, in as much as they say it as a joke, it's not really a joke. Like, mwanaume ni kujikaza, mbona unaenda therapy, things like those. Please. What are your thoughts on that?
Therapy is not a waste of time. Therapy, I find, is the gateway to knowing yourself a lot better, to knowing why you behave the way you behave, why you say things the way you say them, why you are affected by certain things the way you are affected, why you respond, to certain things again in certain ways. Your therapist, if you get the right therapist, because also getting a good therapist is like looking for a good partner. So it's trial and error until you get that one person who you gel with. So they're not there to be your yes man. They're there to provoke your thinking in ways that probably you haven't ever done in your life before. So you of course explain to them what it is you're experiencing. What are the things that you feel are your pain points, the things that are causing stress or giving you discomfort, because those things now will start manifesting either physically, emotionally, and then of course there's the mental. So these are the guys who, when you present symptoms, they now take a deeper dive. There are certain pertinent questions that they ask you, and if you're honest enough and you give these explanations, you will learn yourself in ways even your own friend can't.
True.
Now I think it's taking what your therapist tells you. They have no reason to lie, to be honest. So taking what your therapist tells you about yourself, and then now you can do life with your friends. Because I always say, therapist, that's just the 1 hour you take out of your whole week. And maybe ideally you maybe do it once a week. So out of that 1 hour you've taken, what happens to the other 6 days and 23 hours that exist? You still have to do life. I'm doing life with my colleagues, my parents, my siblings, my friends, and myself. So what happens? So when what you get from that 1 hour can help you go through the rest of the week. So when you look at it in that sense, then you're getting value for. It's just that you pay money, but it's very you get value for the insight that the therapist gives you. But I can't say definitely it's been a waste of time. I've been doing therapy since 2013. On and off, till today, 2024. So I can say for sure that I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about other people. And I've come to accept that one big thing is that life is not black and white.
True.
There's so much gray. But now that gray is what we're not prepared for. No one raises us to know.
This is how you're supposed to deal with the gray areas.
Yeah. Things just come and then you find yourself responding. Or you're in a relationship and you find certain character traits within yourself, start showing up in the relationship. And you're wondering,
where did this
even come from? Or your potential partner is looking
triggers
at
you to start reflecting on certain things about yourself. That's very true.
And he or she is like,
who is this?
Who's this guy? What's going on?
True.
So it makes you more aware. And I believe self-awareness is such a great treasure to have.
I agree.
It helps you navigate life so easily. Literally, you can sit with someone who pisses you off so much. You can sit with someone who has hurt you in the past.
Yeah.
And have a conversation with them, or just sit and say, you know what, hey, I'm not going to be as affected.
Apo sijui sana, because
it takes time.
Me, I can't. That is too grown for me.
It takes time.
Maybe if I do start taking therapy seriously, maybe that might happen. But for now,
it takes time, but it can work. But again, the people are different. It just depends.
True.
Yeah.
But as we proceed, we'll still be talking about more mental health. And of course, in the next link, we'll be talking about how to detect if someone has mental issues or whether you have mental issues.
Okay.
But for now, we enjoy more music. This is So Alive by Sage and Octopizzo right here on Baze Radio. It is 19 minutes past 10. Good morning. That is Under the Influence by Femi One and Nyashinsky. And you heard it right here on your morning Baze. We are still deep in our conversation of today with Edgar Odhiambo. We are discussing everything mental health.
Yes.
Now, as we proceed, I was gonna ask you, how do you detect someone who has a mental health problem? Well, that's a very tricky question to ask, I'll be honest, because different people show in different ways, and by the time you pick up, probably might be sometime, might be early, might be late.
Yeah.
But what are some of the key signs, like standard signs that you know when you see this? Yes, know that there's a problem.
Okay, so let's use what's around me.
Yeah.
Because you and I are friends. We've known each other for a while, and then there's the way you usually behave. And in different spaces. When I start to notice that your behavior is different in these same spaces, then that's something to pick up on.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be maybe you're a very bubbly person and then you're not as
bubbly. True.
Maybe we're in a group with a group of people, a group of friends, you're withdrawn. Or you'd find that maybe you're not keeping up with things like your routine. So if you're a person who maybe wakes up 6-7 in the morning to get your day going,
suddenly you struggle to
wake up. You're not keeping yourself as clean, you're not eating very well. You might be snappy, or you might just be
out of touch
throughout. So people are telling you things and you're just whatever. You're indifferent. Your memory also is a thing. You'd find that sometimes you could forget stuff very easily because you're overwhelmed.
True.
So someone could have told you, we have an interview at 10 a.m.
True.
Oh, okay, cool. And then you come and remind the person, by the way, we have the interview today at 10. Like, we have an interview at 10. What do you mean? When did you say this? I'm like, no, but I told you this time. Like, it didn't occur to
my
this
mind.
person. Yeah?
True.
So, or you overeat. There's under-eating and there's overeating. So it depends. Some people also don't sleep as much.
Okay.
Some people oversleep. Yeah. So we talk about guys with insomnia and stuff like that.
So wait, because I am an insomniac. I'll be very honest. But so does that mean it could be a sign, or is that just that's just how my system is? Because sometimes, forget even other people. Let's even go down to yourself, detecting whether you have a problem.
Yeah.
There's sometimes we take small issues and we turn them into, probably you're having a bad day.
Yes.
And you quickly slide to, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Or, you couldn't sleep maybe for 2 nights in a row, maybe because, you have a lot on your mind and suddenly I'm an insomniac.
Yeah.
Self-diagnosis.
I tell people avoid self-diagnosis. You could, because I think they say anything to do with I think 2 weeks and more. If it's 2 weeks of the same thing and more, then you
there's
could
a
say,
problem.
okay, there's a problem. And when you sense that, go to a professional.
Okay.
Even me, if you come to me as an advocate, I will not tell you, I think I will not diagnose you. We could have a conversation about it, but I'd always refer you to someone who's a professional so that they can diagnose you. Yeah, and then now from that they can tell you what the treatment protocol is.
Okay.
Because there's different types of therapy. But I mean, even before getting to all that, just picking up on behavioral traits changing and things like that are things that are very important.
True.
Yeah. Then when you do, I'd say, I think also sometimes people have a habit of you pick up on something, but you go and talk to a third party as opposed to talking to the person.
Yes.
Yeah. Go and talk to the person. Just go and say, hey, I've noticed, Mariah, I've noticed that this and this is going on. Are you aware of it, first of all? Because sometimes you may be doing these things subconsciously.
True.
Are you aware of it, first of all? And then, what's informing this behavior? Because these behaviors are informed by something.
True.
Yeah. And then you could get into a conversation, on what's going on, if the person needs help, support, things like that. Then you get into a deeper conversation about, okay, what can be done. But the signs, I'd say, a lot of the times, if you pay attention, are there. But then, life, people get busy with, mundane, daily, routine things.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're just like, Mariah is just acting up.
True.
But yeah. So you could pick up on things like, for example, Asga is going for parties. Yeah. In the past, maybe the way I behave when I'm drinking is a certain way. As a bubbly guy, he's chill. But then you notice maybe the last 3 parties we've gone for, I'm a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Or I drink and then I get emotional, I'll cry. Because those things happen. It's not that the booze. So back in the day, there's this alcohol we used to take called Magic Moments.
I remember Magic Moments.
Perfect. And guys used to say that Magic Moments used to make babes cry. Yeah. And we used to see it. So again, there's that. I think there's just something in the chemistry of that drink. Yeah. But there's a difference between, that booze making you cry versus the fact that you're dealing with a situation that when you drank Magic Moment, you cried.
Yeah.
So it's things are linked. It's just following that trail to know what is what and then deciding, okay, what can and what needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it. Guys, we're still deep in the conversation right here. Remember, you can text me for any questions that you have for Edgar on 0716250-933 or also on our social platforms at one Mariah Mariah at Baze_radio right here on Baze. That is Janita with Photocopy right here on Baze Radio. Karibu sana. If you just tuned in, you're hanging with me, Mariah Mariah, in hashtag In The A.M. We're moving all the way till 12, and as we proceed, we are still deep in our conversation of the day with Edgar Odhiambo as we discuss everything mental health. Edgar, sawa?
Niko sawa.
Unasikiaje?
Mi niko poa. Loving the conversation so far.
Yay. I'm good. I'm just taking everything in, honestly. Just soaking it in. Pole as I'm ticking a few boxes in my head, if that makes sense. But yes, as we head deep, I think we also need to talk about workplaces and schools. Specifically those two.
Okay.
Because I feel like in those two areas is where mental health is not taken as seriously.
I agree.
And I would love to ask for your opinion. What do you think are some of the effective ways to advocate for mental health services in schools and in workplaces?
Let me start with work. I think that might be the little.
Yes.
I acknowledge that, yes, in workplaces, mental health isn't a conversation that is
hard too often.
It's not hard often. Yeah.
True.
I applaud the companies that actually have those conversations, even if maybe not internally. Sometimes what you find in their structure, they have an in-house psychologist, or they've outsourced that service so that in the event anyone needs that assistance, it's available. It's available. You just call your HR. HR will help you with the contact, and you go ahead and do that. But I think in the workplace, for me, the best way to advocate it is through work culture.
And when you say work culture, what do you mean?
Work culture, I think for me, because the people who set the tone are the guys at the top.
True.
So I think it's just simple things like how you greet people in the morning.
True.
Things like when a lady is going through a tough pregnancy, how do you handle that situation?
True.
When a colleague calls in and says, man, the way I slept last night
wasn't proper.
The way I've woken up, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
How you handle just that, is your colleague able to just pick up the phone and call and say, yo, today it's just not the day, and they're not calling to abscond work because they're hangover.
Yeah.
It's just they woke up and they're going through a tough,
they're having a rough day. Yeah.
Or in the middle of a work day, you get that one call
and it disrupts your whole day.
Are you able to just communicate that I've gotten this one call, it has disrupted my day?
Yeah.
Can I
please
leave the office?
Yeah.
I'll work remotely, whatever, or whatever I'm doing can be
done tomorrow.
Yeah. So work culture thing for me is the tone that is used in anything around the office, how colleagues interact with each other, especially senior
to juniors.
That says a lot, because this thing of it's the seniors who know everything and can do everything, but at the same time you're still sending work to your juniors to do 10 p.m. because they should just be available because you've sent this email.
True.
Or you're sending emails as early as 4 a.m. If you like to wake up at 4 a.m, that's
do
okay.
You?
But allow me to wake up when I wake up, and then
I'll do what I need to do.
So let's just work something out together, so that the work is still done. So for me, I think advocacy should be through the kind of tone that's used in the workplace. That just says so much in now the different occurrences that happen in a workspace. Now for school, I think for me, best way for advocacy for students could be through parents to teachers, parents to administration of schools, where teachers need to handle students certain ways. These are several kids coming from several backgrounds, so definitely they're all going to sort of behave differently.
Very true.
How you handle people's children really matters. Again, the tone,
because
now you're raising a kid, but in a school setting. So when you're raising this kid in a school setting, there's some kids who either catch concepts faster, some catch concepts
some are a bit slower.
But if the goal is for everyone to catch
grasp
this concept, then how you go about teaching them really matters. Don't shame kids in front of others. Don't call one smarter and call one dumb or whatever. Those type of things, I think, for me, should not even be
happening
allowed.
in the first place. That's
place.
True.
Corporal punishment, that should not happen in the first place. So for me, I think it's parents and teachers should work together for the betterment of these kids. Actually, it's parents, teachers, and administration should work
hand in hand. I agree.
For these kids, because they can't advocate for themselves. But then now you could also create this culture where, in the event a kid wants to speak up on something, that culture is
already
encouraged.
There. Yeah.
So that a kid can say, okay, I'm struggling with this. And then no other kid is, first of all, making fun of them. Because that also happens. Yeah. So no kid makes fun of them.
The teacher doesn't make them feel like they're dumb.
Yes.
True.
So if a kid is also offering a teacher criticism or feedback, it's a teacher
It's
not
needed.
taking that negatively. It's just, you're a teacher. It doesn't mean you know everything.
Yeah.
You also have bad days as a teacher.
True.
It's sometimes you acknowledge you have a bad day and you come and tell your students, man, today, if you notice 1, 2, 3, it's because I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
You'll notice your biggest cheerleaders are those students.
Yeah.
They're the ones who will turn
Hold you into a good day.
A good day.
That's very
just
true.
because you say that, as opposed to you coming in with a bad mood and then you're just shouting at everyone.
Chapa students.
Exactly.
Honestly, I think the past era and this era are very different, because I think even teachers have a more softer approach. Because I remember when I was in primary school, like a teacher would, because they're having a bad day, it's a slap in your face, it's kuchunwa, it's this, it's that. But yeah, I actually do agree with you.
Get a certain grade, in front of everyone, and you're told, how could you get such a grade?
It's madness.
I went to a school in primary where we, at some point between class 7 and class 8, we were segregated according to our grades.
I feel like I know what school you went to.
We're segregated according to our grades. And it was done publicly.
No.
Everyone was brought to an open field. And then, the guys who got this mark,
Stand on this side.
this class, you're in the top class.
Whoa.
Top second class, top third, top fourth, like that. And then there's also insistence of sometimes being
taken to a different branch of
the guys
the
at the
school.
top classes don't interact with these guys below here because they'll
Pull you down. Listen.
we all studying in the same school, bro.
It seems.
We all want to be seen in the
Nairobi is
papers.
one big academy. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
But the conversation still continues. We are about to come back. And did you know Edgar Odhiambo actually has a podcast? We'll talk more about that in the next link. But yes, as we proceed, coming through is Floss Nawewe by Kolo featuring STL and Mimo right here on Baze Radio. Absolutely amazing. That is Ka Lamoto featuring Okello Max, and you heard it right here on Baze. Good morning to you and welcome to the AM. If you just tuned in, it is a happy Monday, happy week. That means new energy and the same vibe all the way as we go. Officially, it's the third hour and we're still in the conversation with Edgar Odhiambo. And we're talking all things mental health. So before we went on our little break, I was telling the guys that you actually have a podcast.
Yes, I
By the name Naked Ego. It's your time. Shine with it, please. Tell us more about it. Why Naked Ego? Everything. Tell us.
So, Naked Ego, I'd say actually the person who came up with that podcast is one of the hosts called Bill.
How many hosts are there?
We are three.
Okay.
There's Bill, there's Nina, and there's myself.
Okay.
So Bill came up with this podcast in 2022.
Okay.
The thing behind Naked Ego is just, we have bold conversations without your ego.
Okay.
So come stripped of your ego and just be ready to have
A real conversation.
A real conversation. You take deep dive in any topic that we present. You don't have to, have so much knowledge about it, but it's just, what do you know about it? Have you been affected? And if you have, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah.
But say it without an ego, say it without pride. Just be vulnerable. Yeah. The aim of that, or having those conversations is just, be vulnerable, stripped of your ego, and we just see where it goes. Yeah. So we've been on a bit of a break.
Why?
Life, actually. It's just adulting.
I feel you.
Conflicting schedules and stuff like that.
Okay.
But we are looking to get back next month, which is in a few days.
Okay.
So I think we've aligned
On what you guys really want to do.
What we really want to do.
Okay.
So we just need to get back to it and keep recording.
Okay.
Yeah, and see where that goes.
Well, it's nice. But apart from doing the pod with the three of you, is there anything else that you guys are trying to do on the side that's still related to the pod? Like, for example, like you just mentioned, that it's you guys just sit and talk and have real conversations. Is there anything around like you guys putting up, like, let me not say seminars, but like safe spaces for like men to come and all of you can have conversations? Is there anything around that you guys are planning to do, or is it just pod and it's strictly podcasting?
No. To answer you, sorry, yes. We, other than the pod, unofficially, I think we've talked about when this thing sort of gets more traffic. We definitely have people now asking, okay, other than the pod, can I get something that can run parallel to me feeding off what I get from the pod?
True.
So I think we'll come up with something that can have, either guys coming to, we can pick a location, then guys can come through, sit with us, we can have a conversation. We don't all have to do the same. We can have like little cohorts. Could be I handling one cohort, Bill one, Nina one, kind of thing. Then I think for us it's just to build community, to encourage people to have these conversations, because there's a need for these conversations to be had.
True.
I think a lot of people now just don't know where to have these conversations.
Facts.
So if you can create that platform for them, fantastic. But it's definitely
in the
pipeline.
works.
We just need to actually put down how we'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about that, what, in your opinion, what do you think are some of the barriers that are currently especially in Nairobi? Because there's so many people who want to seek mental health services, but kuna barriers nyingi. Mara utapata, like you said, probably akuna so many specialists or prices. But in your opinion, what are some of the barriers that are stopping people from getting mental health?
Stigma.
Okay.
Stigma from friends, stigma from colleagues, stigma from family. That's huge, because there's this assumption that this mental health thing is not real.
It's for mad people.
It's specific to quote unquote
much easy.
But you're just stressed. You just need to find a workaround. Kind of thing. There's no need of going to tell people your problems.
True.
Why are you exposing yourself to others? People will use what you tell them against you. Another barrier is cost. Me having gone through therapy has been costly.
True.
And I'm just speaking from a point of privilege. There's some people who don't have that privilege of accessing good
mental health services.
Health services, and you see, mental health services, you don't just acquire them because you're ill. You could do it as a preventative.
True.
You don't have to go to a psychologist or psychiatrist
just because you need it.
Because you need it. Things could just be going quote unquote right in your life, but you're just doing it sort of for maintenance.
True.
The way you do it maintenance on your body,
working out,
your hair,
all that good stuff,
and all that. You could do it with your mind, but cost is a very big barrier. Another barrier is the lack of sufficient information, on what therapy is actually about. And this cuts across all classes. It's not even a thing for just the guys at lower class. It cuts across all classes. There's some people even in, elite families who just
they don't understand
it because they're like, no, what do you mean? Why get involved with that? So information is another one. And then I think the last thing is specialists are there, but maybe I'd say when you go to public facilities, the number of specialists ratio to patients, the specialists are too few.
They're outnumbered.
And then now remember, these are specialists who are expected to provide services in a broken system. So that broken system will affect them. It will definitely be projected on the patient.
That's very true.
Seeing, so we also have to look at it in the sense of all these things are linked.
True.
Yeah. So when things are affected at the top, you come
trickles down to the bottom.
Trickle down to you. So let's say you have a hospital that offers these things for free, but this, whoever the specialist is looking at her roster or his roster, and they have to see 80 patients in one day as one person. You're definitely
you're burnt out.
You're going to be burnt out at some point, and this is an everyday thing. So at some point, it's not going to be effective.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's a barrier I feel. In public facilities, I'd say the government needs to step in. Another one is there are companies that offer insurance but don't cover psychology.
Mental health,
They don't cover mental health as a whole thing. They don't cover psychologists. They don't cover therapists. So you find that you need this help. But
you need to pay it out of pocket.
Yeah, you need to pay it out of pocket. Or you go through this tussle of, if you're lucky, there's some psychologists who you can go, then you get you can get a refund from your insurance company. But that process also
it's still long anyway. True, and it could just be slotted in once.
Yeah.
That's
so for me, that's
true.
a barrier that also should be catered for by employers. I mean, if you're already giving me outpatient, inpatient, dental,
might as well
work something out with some insurance companies. And then, but I think also maybe some psychologists also don't like getting in, they don't get signed up with insurance companies because of internal politics within insurance companies.
Very true.
So it's not that they don't want, but the politics is so much.
It's too much. You'd rather just stay out of it.
Let me just stay out of it, get
my money
out of pocket,
done.
provide the service, and everyone, it's a win-win for all. So those are things also that need to be looked into because they are barriers for sure.
Okay. We'll be coming back right after this, but yes, we'll be talking about hopes of the mental health services and more to come right here on Baze Radio. This remix was much needed. That was Mandy, YBW Smith, and Breda on Anapiga Pick, the remix right here on Baze Radio. Good morning to you. It is 18 minutes past 11, and as we're wrapping up our conversation of the day with Edgar Odhiambo. Edgar, first of all, this was so nice. Thank you so much for coming. You've given me so much insight on mental health. You know what? I've actually been saying for the longest time I want to try therapy. So I tried therapy once. Like I literally did one session.
Yeah.
And then the therapist was taking me. I knew he's taking me to a very deep rabbit hole, Nasitaki. So I never went back.
Okay.
But yeah, let's just cross my fingers. I just might go back this year.
Do it as a gift to yourself.
It's easier said than done, but
Definitely isn't easy. And I think even for the therapist who will, you will see, they know it's not easy.
True.
So for them, they'll deal with you as such.
The boys actually say that my therapist will actually need a therapist if I do start therapy.
All therapists
do have therapists
because they have to offload those things that they go through, they get from patients, but also their own personal lives. For some of them still
deal with their own
they'll
things.
have family issues, marital issues.
Very true.
They need their own therapist to sort of decompress and take that sort of those things that they go through in those spaces, so that there's a balance, so that by the time they are coming to see you as a client,
they have their renewed mind, renewed energy. That's true.
Yeah.
But as we finish, I think I'd say this era, I don't want to say Gen Z, but let me say millennials and a bit of Gen Zs.
Yeah.
This is the era where I think mental health has really been put at the forefront, and people are not quite vocal about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you've seen, there's some companies that are actually implementing. Of course, there are people who are very vocal even on their social media, guys like you who are very ready to talk about mental health, their struggles and all that good stuff. So in your opinion, when you look at the trajectory of mental health, especially in Kenya, what do you think is the hope for mental health, especially spaces and services?
Spaces and services, I think more safe spaces are being created.
Okay.
Whether people like it or not, it's already happening. I think for me, I just tell those who are not in favor of, is just get ready. It's either you are on board the train or you're left forced
behind.
to board that train.
True.
So I like that there are more safe spaces coming up, and they're being done in creative ways. It just could be an event that guys do on the weekend. It could be an activity guys do in an office. It could be a thing that guys do remotely. When you're working remotely, there's something I used to do with my best friend, where when we're working remotely, we would literally just be on a call for half a day or even sometimes a full day.
Wow.
So we're working doing our own separate things, but we are on the phone.
Wow.
But that helped both of us get through just one day. And that would be enough to get us through maybe another 2 days if the event were not on a call, So I like that people are coming up with very interesting things. I'm seeing people in the creative art industry coming up with, sort of like shows that speak about these things, but again in a very interesting way, that where the information can be
taken in a
fast, Then, we have so much on social media that's going on, on all social media platforms and stuff. So for me, I think there is hope that things are going to get better. The caution maybe a caution I'd add in terms of with a caveat is you can't do two things at the same time.
Facts.
It's you want your mental health, wellness to be achieved in a positive light. But on this other side, you're doing things that are detrimental to this thing that you're trying to do. So you have to give up one for the other.
True.
So I think it's that realization that you have to give up one for the other. So the sooner you get to it, the better.
The better for you.
You have so much that you can achieve further down the line. And then I think also people learning that we're all different. Yeah. So I applaud, I think, us as the younger millennials getting into the Gen Z. People are more vocal.
True.
People, whether you like it or not, when we see these situations of people dying by suicide, people, there's heavy intake of
alcohol and
drugs. It's become such a norm.
But
that norm, if you put that aside and look a little deeper, you notice that
it's deeper issues.
It's the issues that guys don't want to face, but those things have the impacts of what they're facing shows up in this way
eventually.
So we have more advocates. So that's another way of creating space. We have more advocates talking about this. We have more offices who are taking these things seriously, and including mental wellness as a practice in their companies, which I applaud people who do that. And then we have individuals getting into fitness.
Yeah.
It's no longer it's not a trend anymore. People are realizing that, by the way, me having an active lifestyle is helping me.
Yeah.
So I've been sober from alcohol for almost 5 years now.
Wow.
5 years next month. And I've noticed over this time, there are more and more people that I'm interacting with who have reduced their alcohol intake because they're listening to their bodies, they're listening to their minds.
Yeah.
There are more people who are taking up a sober lifestyle, and it has nothing to do with maybe if I inspired, well and good, but they've arrived at that decision on their own.
True.
They've checked their lives, they've done an interrogation, they've called themselves to a boardroom meeting, and they realized,
decided to change a few things.
Let me change a few things. And one of them was the booze. Some people have done it with diet, and you can see the results. So there's hope. And I think for me, what I just add to finish off is we have to keep this conversation going.
I agree.
Because a lot of people are struggling in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, with either lack of a job, your business is struggling.
Yeah.
Your family fabric that is falling apart, and stuff like that. Your friendships are not going too well. So I'm noticing that a lot of people are feeling isolated or lonely. So people need to come together and keep having that conversation. Don't get bored of that conversation. And again, you don't have to have the answer to everything.
True.
If you look around you, you could ask one or two people. The same way I'd ask, hey, send me your Boda guy's number. It's the same way I'd say, oh, by the way, I think I know someone who can help you. I'm not in a position to, but I know someone who is. Plug that person and let this conversation keep going, so that wellness is achieved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, it was so nice having you today.
Thank you.
As we finish, please, Ebu, plug yourself. Where can we find you on social media? All that good stuff.
So on IG, that's at Jamlek JJ.
Okay.
So JAMLEK JJ.
Okay.
On Twitter, at Jamlek Jakababa.
Okay. Oh, good.
JAMLEK JAKA
Baba.
BA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nowhere else? You don't want to plug the podcast?
The podcast is at Naked Ego on IG, on YouTube, we're yet to get to TikTok.
Okay.
So on IG and YouTube so far, that's where you'd find us.
Thank you so much for coming through, Edgar.
Thank you too.
Honestly, we wish you all the best. And as you keep pushing, remember, we're honestly rooting for you. We're right behind you. And yes, keep making these conversations, keep creating the spaces for these conversations. And yes, guys, you heard it right here. That was Edgar Odhiambo as we were talking about mental health. As we get back into the jams, this is Domanim Cardinali and Sourboy with Blow Me Kisses right here on Baze Radio.
This is Baze Radio.
We are 254 to the core.